Have you been abused, neglected, experienced ACEs, survived trauma, or lived with dysfunctional household? Before beginning today's lesson, I want to give you a quick rundown of my trauma history so you have a better understanding of the journey I have been on from trauma to healing and hope. During the first 22 years of my life, I experienced tremendous trauma, but now live a life filled with tranquility and joy. I will fill these lessons with the stories of that journey. When I was 4 years old, an intoxicated parent attempted to drown myself and my 1-year-old sister. When I was 5, I was sexually molested for the first time by a 16-year-old neighbor. When I was 9, I was sexually molested by a 19-year-old neighbor when my mom sent me for a can of soup. When I was 10, I was repeatedly molested by my choir director. When I was 14, I was sexually accosted by a religious education director in the rectory where I worked in the evenings for the priests. When I was 16, I lost my virginity to date rape. When I was 16, later that year, I was attacked by a gang of youth downtown in Cincinnati. An officer in charge of that investigation asked my parents to take me to dinner when I was 17, after the trials were over, to celebrate the convictions. My parents allowed him to do so. However, he did not take me to dinner. He took me back to his apartment where he attempted to rape. When I was 21, I was involved in a bank robbery where a gun was held to my head and my coworker was stabbed 3 times with a hunting knife. Later that same year, 3 months later, the assailants would return to our main office where I had just moved, only this time the assailant who had held the gun to my head would pull the trigger and murder my coworker. My sister was a teller, 19 years old at the time. She had just asked to go on break, and the girl that was murdered was the one who had taken her place on the teller line. I had run from the bank and hiding behind row houses behind the plaza where the bank was, and came to face to face with an armed assailant who pointed his Luger at me. However, the gun misfired, and my life was yet again spared. Also, during the first 10 years of my life, my dad physically abused my sister and myself until he received counseling and then apologized for hitting us and told us he would never hit us again. My mother was a severe alcoholic, still is to this day at 83 years old. And my dad struggled to maintain a job, so therefore we struggled with keeping food in the house at times, and with financial issues and struggles. Lesson 6 is check in on one person today and start to make this a daily habit to increase your love connection. Make a phone call, send a text. If you see a post on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, or whatever social media you use, even LinkedIn, even through business, from someone, a connection of yours, whether it be friend, family, coworker, acquaintance, that may be struggling or may be hurting, just reach out. Reach out and check in. Or if you don't know of anyone who is hurting or struggling today, just reach out to a friend to say hi. You just might make their day. The whole purpose is that we step outside of ourselves and start to move away from our focus on our own pain and trauma history. We as trauma survivors tend to close in on ourselves, and we're hurting. And when we're struggling to find the healing path, we find it difficult to see those around us who may be needing our love and our support, our understanding, or just our listening ear. So try to make it a daily habit to just connect with others. Who will you be reaching out to today for a love connection and to check in? Thank you for your feedback, for liking, sharing, commenting. I very much appreciate all of the support. And as I say in the podcast, until next time, remember, be gentle with yourself.